Hey everyone, and welcome back to another CCN video. So in today's video, guys, I wanted to give you my progression tips, especially if you're stuck. You know, this is something that happens in most of these games where it feels like you're doing the same thing over and over. But luckily in this game, the chaos mode feels fresh all the time, which is awesome. So even if you're stuck, quote unquote stuck, it's still kind of fun. But I figured I'd give you some of the tips that I've come across myself whenever I got stuck. I was just like, man, how do I get past this? And eventually it clicked on some of these things. So some of it is just managing your account. And then other things is how you handle the combat in this game. And I've got a clip that I'll show you where I can walk you through some of this stuff. So let's get some of the obvious things out of the way. Depending on your account level, right? I'm account level 45. Depending on your account level, your three main characters that you're going to be using in chaos runs, because we're early on in the game and investing in too many characters is going to spread your resources a little too thin. You don't want to do that. You want to prioritize like a main damage dealer, support, and then maybe like a healer. I don't think there's any reason to run any other healer / support character other than Mika. So she should be a guaranteed in everybody's team, and then the other two characters can be whatever you want. But when it comes to that team building, you want to have your main characters at the max level you can. At the making of this video, I don't think anyone is account level 50 yet. So that means that all of your characters, their max level can be level 50. You need to get them up to this threshold. This is like a non-starter. You need to do it. Otherwise, you're kind of just handicapping yourself, and I don't know what the point of that is. So level 50 for sure on the three main characters that you have. The other thing is your partners should also be level 50 or 40 or whatever the max is, but if you're short on time, if you just like doing the chaos modes, you could probably get away with level 40 on your partners, but eventually ticking them up to level 50 will increase your success rate. The other thing is on your potential for the three main characters that you're using, you need the first and you need this other mode on the right side here, the fourth node, to be unlocked. Your characters aren't even like the base form of what they can be unless this node is unlocked. Again, you're kind of just like handicapping yourself if you don't do this. It doesn't take a whole lot of resources to get here. It might just take a couple different runs of the potential dungeon. But if you're doing this, it's going to make your life a whole lot easier. And then when it comes to memory fragments, right? These things, all these things that I'm talking about. So increasing your character's level, promoting your characters, promoting your partners, farming for potential materials to unlock potentials, and then memory fragments, which are your gear, are all in this area. They all cost 20 energy to do a run, so use them wisely. But if you're only investing in 3 characters at the start, this is really going to help. So your memory fragments, you can pick and choose, the type of gear that you're looking for. Good general gear pieces for everybody is just max HP, defense, and then also flat attack, which is right here. So those 3 gear sets are perfect for everybody, okay? They're very universal, and you can switch them in between your characters if you build up a new character. The right side pieces are always the more important. So that's where you can get like your percentages, whether it's crit chance, crit damage, attack percentage, defense, all the normal things that you're used to in these like gear gacha games, right? So you want to make sure that you're doing attack percentage, defense percentage, HP. You don't want flat attack, flat defense. Don't get cheeky with like the special kind of stats in this area. Just go with the baseline things, especially early on. It's really going to help. Okay, so those are the like baseline obvious ones, right? If you need to level these up, go ahead and level them up. Max is +5. Legendary is the highest level of gear right now. So if you got legendary pieces, don't be afraid to take them up to level 5, okay? They're not really going to be wasted anywhere in the near term. So those are the obvious ones. Not so obvious ones might be Arc City. They kind of tuck it in here. But this Sunshine Diner, before you go on Chaos runs, you get this effect for 2 Chaos runs. You should be doing this. You're kind of just handicapping yourself if you're not doing it. So if you want the baseline thing, I think health and defense is the easiest one to do. Everyone benefits from it, even your damage dealers, where if you do like attack or something, yes, some of your healers and supports can get benefit, but overall just your tankiness, I think, is what's most important for survival. Okay. Now, this last one is the most important in my opinion. When it comes to being successful in chaos, you really need to pay attention to what the weak affinities are. So I will touch on Zero System in a second, but these 5 chaos areas, they have the symbol of where the enemies are going to be the weakest most of the time. There's going to be nodes in this run where maybe you don't go up against a blue weak boss, right? So there might be some fire, there might be wind, there might be dark or light, but overall, like the main bosses or the elites, in most instances, are going to be weak to the affinity that they're showing here. It's really important to have your main damage dealer be this affinity. Now, I know if you've invested in other damage dealers or something like that, that might not be of this affinity, it's okay. There are some support heroes that are very good of those affinities as well that can help you. But the reason why I'm pointing this out is because there's something in this game called tenacity and ravage. They also call it break. And I want to show you in this clip what this does. So if you see here on this screen, this bar up here is the tenacity bar. The reason why this is important is whenever this bar is broken, it gives you a couple different things. The first one is as soon as it breaks, where these 4 bars are broken, you'll get an additional AP, right? The AP is down at the bottom of the screen there. You get 3 to start. So if you break somebody, you get 1 additional AP. This is really helpful to continue chaining your attacks or using the most cards that you can possibly use. A lot of people don't know that. So that's the very first one. The second thing to know about this bar is the higher value AP cost of your cards, the more it's going to reduce the tenacity bar. There are also cards in the game that reduce tenacity. They don't do damage, but they reduce tenacity. All of those things are really important to look out for. But as we see here, I'll show you this bar being broken. So I'm lifting this card up to show you that if I use this card, which is coming from a dark hero, right? She is a void character, and you see the enemies here are weak to void. So when she uses this skill or this card, it'll take down 1 full section of this bar. So if we were to use 4 of these cards, both of these enemies would be reduced to their tenacity bar would be reduced to 0, meaning that when that took place, we would get 2 AP. So you can trigger some AoE cards to be activated at the right time. So this is just showing that it reduces this bar. So same thing with Rin. Rin is also void, and you saw that the tenacity bar went down by 1. So I'm going to show you what happens whenever you break a character. Okay, so Here's a really cool instance that I want you to pay attention to, because knowing your cards as well matter. So this enemy has 2 tenacity bars. Now, when we bring up Rin's card here, you see that it's taking away 2 tenacity bars, where in the prior example I was showing you, that tenacity bar was only being reduced by 1, like 1 section, right? But because Rin's card here says 157% times 2, that means it's hitting twice. So when you hit twice, it's taking those 2 pips of tenacity away. So this is a big deal. So when Rin goes in and uses that card, you'll see the AP down here is at 3, and it'll eventually go to 4. Oh, well, it'll go back up to 3. So we had to use 1 to use the card. So it went down to 2, and now it'll jump back up to 3. So because the tenacity bar broke, we got an additional AP. So that gives us more opportunities to chain more cards. So the tenacity bar is very, very important. Another thing that breaking the tenacity bar does, and this is also very important because a lot of chaos runs end up failing because you acquire too much stress. Whichever character, like let's say Rin was the character that broke the tenacity bar on the enemy, she will reduce stress on herself. So keeping your stress at bay is really important. So managing this tenacity bar is so crucial. A lot of people really disregard this and don't know what it's doing. Those are the really important things there. So it increases your AP, and then it also reduces your stress. And the last thing it does is when you break that tenacity bar, the turn meter count on the enemies will increase by 1. So there are some times where that counter here, like sometimes the enemies can jump in front of you and put up shields or do damage before, you're about to kill them, and they maybe put you into stress and you have the mental breakdown. Not good. So very, very important. And I just want to show you guys, there is an instance where, right here, I show Mika. She'll use her whirlpool skill. Oh, it's the next thing here. 1 second. I think it's around here somewhere. Oh, there it was. So if you see here, when Mika, if she uses her whirlpool skill, you'll see that the tenacity bar only goes down by like half or a quarter. So the reason why I said you really need to pay attention to the element is because it's going to make reducing that tenacity bar during your chaos runs way easier. So Mika here, even though it's a higher cost card, because she is not a element that is going to do a lot of damage or that the enemy is weak to, the tenacity bar is limited. Okay? So I really wanted to preface that. That is an important piece to succeeding in chaos. The other tip is you should be running zero system any chance you get. You should be going through these codexes and trying to complete these, because even if you fail, if you beat the first boss, you have a much better chance of getting better gear, and then also just better cards for your deck. So that's another tip, I would say, quote unquote tip. And then the last one before I get out of here, because I really wanted to talk about the tenacity bar the most, is some people don't realize that healing and shields do 2 different things. So shields, characters that have shields completely prevent stress from taking place. Now, there are some instances where you take stress at the end of the turn in Chaos. You can't prevent that. But depending on how much damage you take to your HP bar, it increases your stress. So if you have characters that have shield, this is a very awesome type of character to take into Chaos to really limit your stress. Because, like I said, stress is usually why people are failing. But this is a great example of a card that does that, and that also shows tenacity damage. So if you see 1 tenacity damage, what that means is it's taking the bar down by 1 full pip, similar to what we were seeing in our walkthrough there with Rin and Ray. So that's one thing to consider. The other thing is on healing abilities. Healing reduces your stress a little bit here and there. I don't know how much. I think it's like maybe 1 stress. So that's important to realize. And the other thing that you need to here it says recovers a random combatant stress by 1 to 6. So this is what healing does. But recover health based on defense. A lot of people like myself, if you come from different games, healing usually scales off of HP in most instances. In this game, it heals off of defense. If you look at Ray and her ability to heal, it's also off defense. So it's not just off of Mika, it's the healing mechanic in general. And then healing stress is just extremely important. So healing and shield do great wonders for managing your stress. And you also have to realize that the healing is based off of defense and not HP. So if you have a healer character like Mika on your memory fragments, you tend to want to try and find defense percentage pieces. And I have health on all of these. I don't know. Maybe I just didn't have any good defense pieces. So here's a defense piece. So the defense is going to help increase her healing. When it comes to shielding, shielding is just based on a percentage similar to attack or whatever. So, guys, those are the tips. Some things that I've just found helpful for me where it's much easier to clear some of these chaos runs knowing that shield, heal, tenacity breaking, all of those things are really key to keep your chains going and your combos going, especially because I'm using a character like Rin. But yeah, hopefully some of these tips helped you. And let me know if you're able to clear a little bit more chaos runs and stuff like that now that you kind of know these things if you didn't before. So that's all I got for you. Appreciate you watching. Catch you on the next one. See ya.